Welcome all to another edition of NBA Picks and Props. The year 2021 has started. We are now 7 days into it. And for most people, if you're watching this in the United States, it was a very interesting day yesterday. We won't have that kind of chaos on the show today, but we will talk a little bit about basketball, some interesting Thursday night matchups today that we're going to talk about, also some player props that we've got to talk about. So a lot of things going on in the world of basketball. We're going to continue some of our conversation that we started last week on New Year's Day around the small sample size theater, and it's still a little bit too early to get excited, but we'll get into that. I want to introduce my guys who are always rocking me, my backpack broadcasting crew. First, we have our Miami Heat fan. He is returning to us today after an absence in the last show because he has some things to do, especially rooting for the Heat probably was one of those things. Bryan Fonseca, he is there. Bryan, how you doing, man?
Yo, I don't want to hear shit today, all right? Francisco Lindor is with the New York Mets, all right? Today, after that shit that happened yesterday, today's a good bounce back for me. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? That is fair, and we want to make sure that people are happy and have positivity following yesterday. And speaking of that positivity, the next person I want to introduce, my man Jamal Murphy. He's rocking the Mets hat today. He is all in team Let's Go Mets.
That's the fuck I'm talking about.
Let's go.
That's what we're talking about. This is a basketball show. We already started talking about baseball. So that is interesting enough in itself. And our last person that we're going to have in this, but not least, is our man Jarod Hector, host of the 7 Footers podcast. And Jarod, I want to thank you because you have been seconding how I've been able to have things better in my life once I got rid and stopped rooting for the New York Jets. I've got that out of my life. See, things are good now. Mets are getting Francisco Lindor. Knicks are playing decently. Life is okay.
People, you don't got to root for these sorry-ass franchises, man. Find somebody that you like that's good. Find a competent team. Let's go.
Bandwagon is what you're saying?
No, nothing about bandwagon. I'm not saying jump on the best team. Just find a competent team. That's all.
See,
just find a team you mess with.
That's it.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, like the Pelicans for me.
There you go. See, they competent now. Rock with them. Let's go.
You know what, Jamal? I can't even be mad. I can't even be mad at you for that. You know what I mean?
Well, I think they were terrible last night.
Yeah, they've had some tough losses early in this year.
It's early though. It's early. We're going to get to that about it being early. Speaking of being early, last episode, guys, we talked about how early it was in the season. Now most teams have played about anywhere from 7 to 8 games. So I would still caution everybody and say it's still small sample size theater. But we want to look back. When we started off our first episode, we talked about a lot of future bets, who we thought might win MVP, where we thought teams would finish in terms of the over-under. So when we look at some of those future bets that we made, is there anything that has you worried? Is there anything that you're not maybe feeling right now that you were feeling strongly about 2 weeks ago? I'm going to start with Bryan. Maybe it's your Miami Heat. Maybe you're not feeling as strongly about them. But what is it? Is it a player? Is it a team that you were kind of high on? You felt confident speaking with your chest when you came on the show, but now you might not feel so good about it. What's that for you, Bryan?
3 things. Right off the bat, right? Norman Powell. Yeah. Never mind.
What was that for?
He ain't winning shit this year. By the looks of it, just the Raptors in general would probably be my second one. Although I wasn't somebody that was totally optimistic that they were going to be a contender. I even wrote right before the season began in a division preview is that I thought that they were like just a cut below that. But if they were at the end of the year, we looked up and they were going to be a contender, it would be because OG Anunoby, Norman Powell, Chris Boucher, and basically that core of like young dudes who are quote unquote next on that team would actually, take that step forward. Now it's very early. And that's not to say that can't happen and things can't turn by like mid-February, but by then, where are they going to be in the standings? You know what I mean? Like now is the time where you want to, like Miami did this last year where they won a whole bunch of games early so that like they had this cushion that whenever they were to slip up, that it didn't affect them that badly, although they might be doing the opposite this year. And yeah, Miami, I wouldn't say that I'm so like not as confident in them necessarily. But I will say that they're not off to the start I expected to some degree. And on top of that, they have I think, the toughest strength of schedule for the month of January, which means like you're hoping, if you root for them, that by the end of January they're basically 500, and then they could just take it from there. But as you guys know, in our group chat, I've been throwing out Kyle Lowry, LaMarcus Aldridge, George Hill. Like, they're gonna do something. You know what I mean? They're gonna do something. And then there was something else that, as you mentioned, is Dexter, that I wanted to get to, but I can't really remember it right now. So I'm gonna just wait on it, but it'll come to me.
Well, I'm gonna ask you this then, because you talked about most improved player, and guys, we talked about all the players that we thought could be some dark horse candidates and really good bets in this situation. There's been some movement in that. Julius Randle is now, who's got a great start to the season. He's now, BetMGM has him as plus 900. You've got Christian Wood, who's sort of now the favorite. Yep. At plus 200. So even though we're talking about small sample size theater, I'm glad Bryan brought up that category. There's been a lot of change in most improved player, and I think that's a really hard category to bet on anyway. Yeah. So that's interesting. Your boy Norman Powell, by the way, Bryan, for the odds makers and people out there wondering, he's now at plus 6,500, and so I don't think he's really
longest of shots.
He's the longest.
But remember, when we looked through it the first time, he wasn't like super high, but he was one of the first names that we saw, that we ran through or whatever.
Right.
And like right now, I mean, it does plus 6,500. I mean, those are not odds I'm even going to take, because he doesn't look like he's going to be, even what he was last season, let alone most improved.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. All right, Jarod, what are you worried about? Maybe a pick you made early in our first episode that's got you a little bit concerned now.
Nothing, baby. I'm confident about all my picks.
No.
Nah. I add a little spice to it. Honestly, the same thing Bryan was saying, right? I had OG as most improved, and as a dark horse. I mean, he could still be it. The worry more is about Toronto, right? And them not playing well as a team. You're not going to win most improved with your teams worse than they were the previous season, right? Because your improvement obviously didn't help your team get better. But their issues have more to do with, like, Pascal, though he played well last night against Phoenix. It's just overall they need a little bit of infusion and a change of some things to kind of make themselves a little better. So Toronto is a team that, like, I'm kind of like, not playing as well as I thought they would. Indiana's doing well, like as I thought they would. They have that defensive foundation from McMillan, but with the new coach, offensively, they're playing a little bit better, shooting way more threes. We know how I feel about my boy Domas Sabonis. Yep. He's awesome. Oladipo's looking like he's rounding back into that all-NBA dude. Malcolm Brogdon is another 50, 40, 90 guy. So Indiana doing well. What I will say and this will delight all you Knicks fans on here, I'm nervous about my under. I said bang that under on the Knicks, and now I'm like, Murph,
what do we say? Murph, what?
They're already a quarter of the way there.
22 and 50 or something like that.
That's it. They're already a quarter of the way there.
But the Knicks,
they got 5.
But they're the Knicks. So I was like, man, they're going to find a way to nick this up. But I will say, look, I said this on another show. Knicks fans, get ready. I think y'all going to be in that play-in. I can easily see you getting that 9-10 spot. Like,
I can see it.
Now, the only thing is, as you know, your man Tibbs, they already playing 40-something plus minutes this early in the season. That's already got me nervous. So we need some healthy guys to come back and do okay. Joel Embiid, Defensive Player of the Year. I feel real good about that pick. Philly playing well.
That was your pick. That was a good one. I'll talk more about the Knicks later. But okay, that's what you're worried about, Jarod. I hear you. Murph, today you got the Mets hat on, which means you ain't got no worries. You got no worries.
No worries.
Is there anything in the NBA that has worried you, or a pick that you made early on that you said it with your chest, you were confident, but now you're like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody said, it's really early, so you can't go crazy. So I'm a little worried about a couple of things. I'm a little worried about the Heat. I think Bryan might have gassed me. He got me on the Heat bandwagon. I'm thinking they're going to be the first seed.
It's early, and Jimmy Butler was hurt. He missed a few games.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying I'm a little nervous about that over. They got to win 44 games.
I will say this to that point. Tyler Hero, he's got to not have 8 points in a game.
Yeah, what's up, man?
I thought
he was the next one. That's what I was hearing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
What's up, man? What's he doing? You messing with them IG models again? What's going on with your man?
Yes, that's a yes.
Look,
homie, come on, man. Get your head in the game, homie.
His head's in the game, son. You seen some of these chicks?
I mean, he's playing in a different kind of game.
Exactly. So he got to get his act together. Same thing with Denver. 3-4 also. They're starting off slow. You know, I had them with the over. They had to win 45 games.
I said go under. Woo!
Yeah, you did. So I'm a little nervous there too. So those two, I'm a little nervous about. The MVP situation, I don't remember who I picked, but I remember saying that a good value was Anthony Davis, and I'm not sure about that anymore. He's kind of been slow out the gate. I expected him to be. You know, I thought the first year for him was like get to know my situation, get comfortable. I was expecting a huge second year, and so far that's not the case. We'll see if that changes. And the one I'm really just ready to trash is me even mentioning Bol as a long shot for Rookie of the Year. I'm not even sure if he's playing. I think he's played 3 games. He's averaging about 4.7 minutes. So you can forget I said that. So that's what I'm scared of.
Wow. Well, I'll say that I'm scared about the Portland Trailblazers. They've scared me.
That's the one I was going to mention, Dexter.
That's the one you were going to mention? Okay, good.
I forgot about that.
Jarod, I was trying to remember, Jarod, if you were somebody who was a little bit what they can do. I said take them. I thought they'd win over 40 games, but they can't study, guys. They're giving up 118 points a game. They can't stop anybody. We saw Steph drop the 62-piece on them the other night. They're just really not good defensively. And I think the teams that have shown where their defense is that bad, they're the ones I'm going to be watching how I bet or what I'd want to do against them, especially if they get into close games. We saw Washington the other night, another example of a team. Gives up a bunch of points. Beal has a great performance, but he gives them a 50-piece, but they're still, they can't stop anybody. So Portland, they were at 40.5. I had them with the over. I'm not so sure, man. I think they could be a little bit under that and maybe hanging around 500. That's a huge concern for me.
I took the under for the record.
Yeah, I think I took
the under. Okay.
And it was a stay away from me because I look, and I know Brian loves Dame, and he's a kind of a question guy.
I have a question.
You know my thing. Like I thought their run to the conference finals a couple of years ago was fool's gold. Like that, everybody's like, I'm like, nah. Like there's still a liability defensively. Yeah, Nurk's not playing great, but again, you can abuse CJ and Dame in pick and roll all night long when you got bigger guards, and man, is what it is.
So I think the main thing with them is that while Damian Lillard's not really shooting the ball well, I think Nurkic has just been in foul trouble. He's not even averaging a double-double. Like he's way behind where he was at the bubble last year. Enes Kanter's numbers are actually better than his so far this year, and that's the backup. And Derrick Jones Jr., Robert Covington, I expected better defensively from them. Carmelo Anthony, at this stage of his career, he's just going to kind of come in, give you 10, 12 points, and that's really it. So he's not going to offer you anything defensively. CJ is actually playing really well. And especially if you're streaming him in fantasy, and it's like he's actually putting up numbers. And when you watch him, he's very comfortable and things like that. But I'm wondering, is like, all right, are we going to look up if they're 500, right? Let's give them that. If they're 500 in February, I know the trade deadline's in March, but if they're 500 in February, are you looking up being like, maybe we just eject here? Maybe we just move somebody or something like that. Like they're a team I'm watching to kind of, because we were expecting it for a long time. And then we've sort of resigned ourselves to the fact of, okay, they're going to just stick it out with Dame and CJ and we're going to see what happens. And I'm wondering because it's still early enough in each of their contracts. They both were recently extended. I'm wondering if that's something that will broach at some point later on in the season, and if there are odds for that, by the way.
So I think Neil would do something, and there probably are odds for that. The one you would move would be CJ, obviously, and you'd be selling high if he continues to play the way he's playing. Although CJ is already borderline all-star, like a very good player. Yeah. The question is because what you need is a wing. Okay, well, what wing are you getting? Who's available?
And CJ starts making $30 million a year next year.
Because everybody says we the wing, and I get it. You have to, because you're not going to win without one. Okay, who is it and where are they? They don't grow on trees. Who's the wing?
Right.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of teams off the top of my head who you could see maybe making that move.
Do they have enough to play the Harden game?
If you use CJ, that helps. But they gave up
Anthony Simons.
They gave up
Anthony Simons.
So they have young,
for Covington.
They have young pieces, right?
Yeah.
All those guys you mentioned. They also have Harry Giles on a 1-year deal.
Yeah,
but that's somebody. If I trade for, I would like to extend them, see what I have, and actually play them. But they're not really playing them there, which I didn't really expect early on in the season. With CJ, that would help to get into the Harden game. But I'm also thinking, like, would they send him to a team that? All right, what if the Knicks? Here we are. What if? Here we are.
Like, what?
Here we are. What if the Knicks continue this trend of just sort of overachieving? Because here's the thing. Portland's 500 in February and the Knicks 500 in February are two different 500s.
Correct.
If the Knicks are 500 in February, you're looking at, maybe we can get maybe we can do something here, because it's also not guaranteed you're going to walk away with somebody in free agency.
I also think they would keep something. What is to do something?
No, I'm just. We're talking about CJ McCollum. I'm just saying.
Who are you? Okay, who you trading for him?
Yeah,
don't tell me Julius Randle. That's not a wing.
First of all, you ain't traded Julius Randle for nobody right now.
If you want to go 500,
you ain't traded Julius Randle. Listen, Julius Randle has been legitimately like a top 10 player in fantasy so far.
RJ Barrett, he can't shoot. Don't want him either.
Brian,
you're not trading RJ Barrett either.
Brian, you're getting to the point. And this is the way you're going. I wouldn't want to bet on the Knicks doing anything. What do you want? What would you want the Knicks to do?
I'm just speaking things into the universe so that you, with your Knicks backdrop, could react to.
Yeah, you saw my reaction. You saw my reaction. Like the Knicks need to just stay patient. And shout out to Jamal Davis who's watching, and be sure to check out his show Just for Sport here on the Props Network. He says Julius Randle for Most Improved Player of the Year. We talked about the odds for him going up on that. And
CJ McCollum before Most Improved Player of the Year.
What you sound like right now, Brian, is you sound like that owner for the Knicks that might meddle a little bit too much. That might want to push the button.
Are there odds on that?
I might take that.
No, that's a guarantee. So Vegas ain't putting that out there. They're like, nah, they're gonna make no money off that.
I'm waiting to fall. Hey, get this Julius Randle shit the fuck out of here. I want to see Obi.
But I do think that Julius Randle, for the Most Improved now, is a great bet at plus 900.
Yes,
I don't see him really tailing off all that much with Tibbs. Being his coach, Tibbs. Julius Randle's always been very, very talented ever since high school.
Yeah.
Like he was one of the most talented kids. College. And he just no one ever knew how to use him, and I think that Tibbs knows how to use him a little bit, and also he's obviously inspiring him to play, hard for 48 minutes a game.
It's just the minutes. That's all that's got me nervous right now is the minutes.
But that won't come into play until a couple years down the line.
So let's put it all in now. Yeah, 2 years from now, sell high on that because his knee's gonna be shot by then.
Oh man, so that sounds like somebody's going to willing to bet on that. It's going to be interesting to see that with the NBA, with the whole NBA Most Improved and what happens with that. That shall be very interesting. So I know you guys said you're concerned. Is anybody willing to exchange any of those picks? Want to get off those picks? I know Murph, you already said one you should get off.
Yeah, get off that.
You said get off of that already. Brian, are you willing to get off the Heat bandwagon? That is the question most people that watch the show want to know. Are you jumping off the Heat bandwagon?
No, not at all. No. I Norman Powell, I'm out. I mentioned Taylor Horton-Tucker as a potential dark horse for Most Improved. I'm out. KZ Okpala's not getting the playing time. Out. James Wiseman, Rookie of the Year, still looking pretty good. We'll see what happens. Right. Other than that, I'm sticking with my picks for now because they all have at least some probability. The ones that I'm throwing out, they have no chance in hell.
Understood. I feel pretty good about everything, but I'm really nervous about those Trailblazers. We'll keep our eye on them. More on them later, but we'll do that. But it's Thursday night. This is TNT night, pretty much showcase night with the NBA. There's some interesting games tonight, and when we had talked about this, guys, when we looked at some of these games before we got to Thursday night, we thought the first matchup on TNT, Sixers at Nets, was very intriguing. Now, obviously, some things have changed around that because Kevin Durant will not be playing. He'll be missing 4 games due to contact tracing and having to see out. And this is something that we're going to see throughout the season, and it's going to affect the way people are able to bet on these games, project these games. It's just going to affect a lot. We're seeing this early. But this is still a matchup between two teams in the East that many people expect to be there competing. Some people have either of these teams in the finals, conference finals, whatever you may say. Very interesting. So when we look at this game, the Sixers are coming in as the consensus favorite at -1 against the Nets. Nets at home here in Brooklyn, where I am. Who do you like in this game? I'm going to start out with Murph, my fellow Brooklyn resident. Who do you like in this game? Sixers at the Nets. Do the Nets have enough to hang around?
Yeah, I mean it's I'm kind of struggling with this a little bit, but if I have to pick, I got to go with Philly here. I mean they're 7-1. They're playing very well. Simmons is averaging close to a triple double, 14, 9, and 8, and Embiid 25 and 12. They're getting it done. They're playing very good defense. They've been pretty good even on back-to-backs. So, and I just think, obviously without Kevin Durant, that's a big loss for the Nets. I'm not saying they can't pull out this game, but I think, consensus, you got to go with Philly here. And with only 1 point, I think they can get it done.
Yeah, I could see that too. Jarod, have you liked what you've seen out of the Sixers thus far? They've gotten off to a pretty good start. They are sitting atop the conference right now. Are you as confident in the Sixers coming in at 7-1 to Brooklyn in this game?
I mean, as you all know, last year I had the Sixers going to the NBA Finals. That didn't quite work out as planned. But look, the talent has always been there, right? That was never the question. It was, can you figure out how to get these guys, these pieces to work together? I mean, early again, so let's not lose our minds. But Doc has figured some things out, right? They're playing the defense they're capable of. I say it all the time at Noise. I'm going to say it again. You have 2 players under 25 who are all NBA and all NBA defense. That's how good those 2 are. And they're the number 1 defense in the league, even after giving up 100 million points they did last night to Bradley and the Wizards. They're still the number 1 defense in the NBA after all that. So I like what I'm seeing by Philly. Doc's doing good things with them. The roster makes more sense. Seth Curry, I mean, dude's shooting, 46% from 3? I mean, killing it right now. So it would seem that this should be an easy line. It's Sixers are easy, but why is it -1? What's Vegas doing out here? It's a stay away game for me. So I'm like, I don't know, man. This seems real funny. Without Kevin Durant, it's going to be a problem for Brooklyn, but defensively, they played well last game against Utah, and that's what they're going to have to do until Durant gets back to be in these games. They got to hit on offense. You've got to play well defensively, and I'll be looking tonight at that Jarrett Allen, Joel Embiid matchup. Jarrett got the best of Rudy Gobert. Now, Rudy is not an offensive power like Joel is, right? So it'll be interesting to see how that works out because Joel's usually given him the business in the past. But it's stay away from me.
Yeah, he is giving him the business, definitely in the past. Yeah, I felt the same way about the line. Why is it at 1? I think that's very interesting here.
It's like second night of a back-to-back for Philly, so that's likely why.
That's a factor. And sometimes that's a concern, right? And why you may want to stay away from a team on the second night of a back-to-back.
But here's a stat that's interesting for Philly. They're 5-2-2 against the spread with 0 days rest in the last 9. So they've done pretty well with that, and they're actually 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games period. So that's just giving me a little more confidence to bang Philly here.
I think what also helps Philly too is all these games they play, they don't feel like road games anymore because nobody's in the arena, and we saw how much they struggled on the road last year.
And really quick before you get to Brian, let's also. Philly hasn't had a murderer's row schedule either. Let's also, as much as I love what they're doing, I mean, they haven't played top tier competition yet. So,
All right, so we got 2 people taking Philly in this. Brian, are you in agreement or are you team Brooklyn?
Yeah, I'm taking Philly here.
We don't know. It's not like it's the Heat and it's guaranteed.
No. Well, because Brian hates Nets fans, so therefore he hates the Nets.
No, I ain't going that far. Some of them. But a lot of them are cool. A lot of them are my peoples. But I just it's tough to pick them against Philly, especially without Kevin Durant. With Kevin Durant, especially with Philly on the second night of a back-to-back, we're probably having a different conversation. Yeah. I agree that this is a stay away. But I think that if you're also doing daily fantasy, Kyrie Irving, I mean,
points.
How could you not at this point? I did it the other day, and I was very, very happy. Although I wasn't as happy when I realized that he had a 20-point first quarter and ended with 29. That wasn't great. I was expecting 40 at that point, but whatever.
Blowout. So,
it is what it is. And then Karis LeVert, obviously you would think that he'll be better in this sort of role where he has to step up because Kevin Durant is out, which he did do last game. Against Philly, it'll be a little bit tougher because I'm sure that Ben Simmons is going to be chasing him around, although you don't really see a lot of man-to-man in the NBA anymore anyway because everybody's switching. And, this is how Steph Curry got 62 the other day, right? They kept switching him off on the Nurkic. And then, he would just be open, and then it's a three. This is what it is. And he's running around all over the place. So, that's more so to say it's just hard to predict from a matchup standpoint how things are going to go from matchup to matchup. But I think that with Karis LeVert and with Kyrie Irving, the offense will be there for the Nets. But we know defensively they've been struggling, and this is where Philly excels at. But it's a stay away from me. And Joel Embiid, he's been tearing up Jarrett Allen's ass ever since Jarrett Allen got drafted. So, and DeAndre Jordan is not what he was at one point. So as long as Joel Embiid stays out of foul trouble, he should have another great game.
Well, also, let's give a shout out to 209 ES1 who's watching on YouTube. He gave me the note knowing that Embiid is questionable, which is
he's
correct.
Questionable every game. That shit don't matter.
He's questionable every game. That's a fair point. Also questionable.
He's like Anthony Davis. Every fucking game you look up in fantasy, and it's questionable, and then 2 hours before tip-off is GTD because he's a game-time decision. I hate that shit.
Yeah. Anyway. Also questionable tonight is Seth Curry. So I wonder, Jarod, you talked about
Colin Sexton. That's important too.
Yeah.
Sexland. Let me just say, because Eric just came in and said get the over on that game. I was going to take the under because of the way Philly was playing, and also the under is 4-0 in Philly's last 4 games as a road favorite.
Interesting. Very interesting stat there. So I wonder, maybe the questionable, and Brian's right, Embiid's always questionable. I just wonder how much that factors in along with Seth Curry. But I mean, questionable, who knows? It could be upgraded to probable in the next hour.
Never know.
You never know with this. All right. That's how everybody thinks. Did you, Jarod and Brian, and ask you, how do you guys feel about the over/under in this game?
I would have gone under. Just I think again, while Brooklyn hasn't played great defense, they're still, if you look at the metrics, still top 8 defensive rating in the league, and they played well against Utah. So I think when they try, and we saw it against Utah, they tried, and when they try on defense, they're actually pretty good. So I think the under here. But either way, this whole game is just stay away from me.
I agree with the under as well, though. When I look at some of the defensive metrics, it's just hard this early in the season because they haven't really played. All of these teams have only played a select few teams, and now we're doing the baseball thing where a lot of the teams you're seeing once, you're seeing them on back-to-backs, or not back-to-backs as in back-to-back days, but you're seeing them 2 straight times. So this entire thing, to Jarod's point, I agree, is a stay away. But I would be more comfortable with the under than the over. And, of course, they'll probably go over because we said that shit.
Well, probably. And maybe that'll make our guy, Eric Chang. Chang, sorry about that. Thank you for always watching. Feel better. He said, well, damn, I'm sorry, Eric. We understand that you took the over. But, yeah, I'd stay away on that one, too. I'd probably keep he said he's good with it. All right, Eric, as long as you're good, we're trying to
be good.
Stressed. If you're good, then we're good. We do not want you to be stressed while you are spending your money on these games.
Wait, Dex, real quick.
Yes.
Brian, you're not someone who's down with the hashtag Steph better? No, that's not.
Then who? Then who?
Nobody. Don't matter. Moving on.
It's Steph versus everybody. We got to get Brian a shirt that says that.
Because there's Dame, there's Harden, there's Lillard, there's LeBron. Whoa. I said Dame twice, but I said Dame and Lillard. But whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole bunch of people they're trying to pit Steph Curry against. And this is something I actually wrote about this week. Can we just be happy that he's back? And back?
No.
You know what I mean? Do we have to do the thing?
Nobody is going to be happy.
People don't get tired of this shit. People just don't get tired of comparing people all the time.
Until Steph Curry gets that Finals MVP, there are some people who are never going to be happy, and that's just it. That's just what it's going to be.
It's like people just always fighting about choices and shit. See, this is why elections get so stressful. You know what I'm saying?
Oh Lord! All
right. Moving on. The second game of the night on TNT is the Dallas Mavericks, the Fighting Luka Doncic's and nobody else, versus the Denver Nuggets, a team that Jarod had been cautioning everybody to stay away from with the over/under. And the more I look at it, I've been saying, Jarod had some really interesting points here. This team hasn't gotten off to a quick start. They are still below 500. They have looked very suspect on defense, but they are home, and the Mavericks are coming into town. So I'll start with you, Jarod. You were saying, hey, stay away from the Nuggets. They've been a little suspect.
Yeah, man.
They're at home. They need wins, right? They need wins now. So what do you like in this game?
They do need wins. I mean, look, it's 3.5, I believe, is the line right now.
Right, yes.
Look, they need wins bad, but so does Dallas. They're both 3 and 4, right?
Sorry, on this updated line. Sorry to cut you off. Updated line is at 3, guys.
At 3. Okay.
Open at 3.5.
Look, here's the issue. Luka and Jokic are going to go off because who on the other team is stopping any of them? Nobody. Now, but who's Luka's ace? Tim Hardaway Jr.? Josh Richardson? I mean, yeah, those dudes can go off at any time, but it's like I don't like banking on dudes like that because they're so unpredictable, right? Like, there's certain guys in the league, it doesn't matter. Like, even if they shoot bad or whatever, they will work their way into their 25 points, whatever they got to do. Tim Hardaway Jr. might be 3 of 18 from the field, and it's like 8 points. You know what I mean? Like, then what you're going to do? Josh Richardson, same idea. At least Joker's got Jamal Murray. Now, their issue is still they leak like a sieve defensively. I don't know what is happening out there on the wings. They got problems. Well, I mean, right. Nothing's happening on the wings. Michael Porter Jr. is still Mr. Anti-Vaxxer. He still got his, COVID, I'm resting or whatever. So they don't have that offensive piece. But look, I think Denver, because it's at home, they'll find a way to win with the altitude. I'm going to go Nuggets -3.
Interesting there. Murph, what say you about your boy Michael Porter Jr. not being there? Nuggets could be one of your teams. That might be an organization you might want to root for. What do you say there about the Nuggets at home? Are they getting this win over Doncic and the boys?
Oh, I can't even hear you, Murph. Where'd you go?
We cannot hear Murph. Murph will come back to you. Brian.
So
how you feel about the matchup?
Michael Porter Jr. is apparently available to return.
No, not tonight. I saw it not tonight.
I see that he's available to return Thursday. You sure about that?
I saw. Well, I'll check the Twitters while you're talking. Go ahead.
Yeah. Check that. But regardless, I mean, I actually think being that it's on Thursday.
Oh, you're correct. You're correct. Denver.
Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. is playing. So yeah.
Okay.
I thought that.
No. He's out. He's out for tonight's game. He's out. I was saying there was a report that he would be available for Thursday's game, but it's now been reported in the last hour that he will be out.
Denver Post just reported it. He's out.
Mike Singer from Denver Post reported that. Yeah, he's out for tonight's game.
Claro. All right. So basically, I think that's regardless. I'm just gonna roll with this. I think this is gonna be one of those games that because it's nationally televised, that Luka Doncic, he's just gonna go nuts. Yeah. I just think he's gonna have one of those 42, 17, 11, like one of those stupid stat lines where he just goes crazy. Jokic is actually averaging like 24, 12, and 12. He's actually averaging a triple-double. He's been the best fantasy player so far this year. So for people who play season-long, daily fantasy, whatever the case may be, because we're all like betting money here, Nikola Jokic has been the most surest thing in fantasy so far. Luka Doncic is like right behind him. So I think they're both going to go crazy. I agree with Jarod on the assessment that like it worries me with Dallas because Porzingis is not there, and even if he's there, I'm still worried about like their overall makeup of their roster because who is sort of the running mate here, especially at guard. There's just not a lot for Luka Doncic to work with, right? I trust Josh Richardson more than I trust Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. has actually been better offensively so far this year. Josh Richardson, I'm still waiting for him to be more impactful. He's getting, double-digit shot attempts a game. He's playing 31 minutes a game, but he's not really shooting at an efficient clip right now. He's like roughly around 42% from the field and 32% from three. I'm waiting for him to pick it up. I actually think this is a matchup that's tailor-made for a good Josh Richardson game because Denver hasn't been able to stop anybody, especially three-point shooters. Opposing teams are shooting 39.4% from three against Denver so far this season. So that's going to benefit not just Luka, but Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalen Brunson, Josh Richardson, guys like that on the Dallas Mavericks. So I actually think that the Mavs are going to take this game, though it's stay away from me because I don't have the balls to put money on it.
Two stayaways from you today, Brian. Murph.
Next one won't be.
Next one won't be a stay away. Okay, interesting.
We know why.
We know why. Yeah, as soon as I was like, okay, yeah, I know why. Murph, how are you feeling about this game? Jamoke, our man Jamoke says Jokic is the best big man in sports based on his size. an ability and skill set. I thought that was Thomas Bryant, Jamoke. I thought it was Thomas Bryant.
Thomas Bryant.
Yeah, that's Jamoke's boy, Thomas Bryant. I thought it was him. Murph, how are you feeling about this game?
Yeah, it's a stay away from me. I'm leaning to Denver. I was leaning more to them when I thought that Porter was going to play. I'd seen that earlier in the day that he was going to go. Now he's a no-go. So it makes it more of a stay away game for me. Both of these teams have started off kind of slow, 3 and 4. They've both been uneven in terms of their performances. I agree with Bryan in terms of always got to watch out for Luka having a monster game. So that's kind of why it's a stay away for me, because I think Denver has been playing a little better. They're on a 2-game winning streak, so they're trying to make it 3 here. So yeah, I'm leaning Denver even without Porter, but you can't count Luka out. This could go either way.
No one can guard him over there. They got no one to stop Luka.
Yeah, and which is going to be interesting when we get to some player props later. So that's going to be really interesting. As far as this game, I'm like Bryan. I'd stay away from this as well too. With one caveat, I would look at the over/under. The over/under is 223. Ooh. I would tend to lean towards the over on this. Yeah, over. I would bang the over on this.
It might be 240, honestly.
Yeah, bang the over on this. This is how I feel about this. I don't think you're going to see a lot of defense here tonight. And if Doncic goes off in the ways we think he goes off and he's able to get some other guys involved and they actually can hit shots, which is a big ask, I still think there's going to be a lot of points. Neither of these teams have looked good defensively at all. I would take the over in this. I'm more inclined to bet that way in the over-under in this game than actually the spread. That's how I would play it. But it's kind of, in terms of the spread to stay away, over-under, I'm banging the over there for sure. All right, our third game, which is the game that's going to make Bryan smile. Now, this is the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Portland Trailblazers. We spoke about the Portland Trailblazers and why I have some concerns about this team, but it's Bryan's boy Dame. Is it going to be Dame time tonight or not? Now, the Wolves are not a team that a lot of people thought we might be talking about.
Are they even a team?
Probably not. Probably not. But here's what makes this game interesting, folks. This is another game where, look, you want some high scoring and not a lot of defensive basketball, this might be it right here. This might be the game for you. Neither of these teams, talk about teams who haven't played defense. Neither of these teams have played well defensively at all whatsoever. But it could be Dame time. That is Bryan's boy, Dame all day. I'm going to start with you, Bryan, Mr. Fonseca. When you don't have the Miami Heat pom-poms waving about, we know you might have the pom-poms waving for the Portland Trailblazers and Damian Lillard. Who do you like in this matchup in terms of what will come out? Will it be the Blazers or will the Wolves have the upset? And don't tell me you're staying away. No staying away from the spread on this game. Who you got?
Portland's winning. Bounce back performance. Joe Budden called Damian Lillard the other day on this podcast, and he asked him, why Steph did that to you, man? It was the first thing he said. It was hilarious. I think Steph better. I think Dame is going to have a bounce back performance. And I think he's going to do it because, as you said, D'Angelo Russell, respectfully, because I think he's going to have a good game tonight also, but he ain't locking down Damian Lillard. They're actually it's going to be offensive. They're just going to score on each other and take turns over and over and over again. But I think Dame will get the better of that exchange. CJ McCollum has been steadier, just been a really good scorer from that 2 spot. I don't think Minnesota's going to be able to match that. Anthony Edwards, still coming off the bench, hasn't quite shown me enough other than his scoring, which has been kind of up and down. And I just don't think Minnesota, especially without Karl Anthony Towns, who's still injured, is going to have enough. And I will comfortably take Portland in a game that I don't think will be all that interesting down the stretch if Portland does what they have to. Now, if Nurkic is in foul trouble and we do this shit again where it's like Robert Covington can't score more than 6 points and Derrick Jones Jr. is out there for 32 minutes and can't score more than 5, and if Melo's shooting 4 for 12, and Dame and CJ have to basically do everything again, then it's going to get interesting. But I still feel comfortable saying Portland will win this game regardless of the spread.
Now the Trailblazers are favored by 10. Trailblazers minus 10 in this game. That's an interesting number, and this is what we wanted to talk
118, about. 107. 118, 106, matter of fact.
That's a little closer than I thought it might be for there, but you got the points there, so that's interesting. The spread makes this game very interesting. I think there will be a lot of points. It's minus 10. Do you like that number, Murph? it's kind of that point where you got to start thinking about things. Do you want to put the money down on this? What do you think about the spread here?
Yeah, it's a lot of points, but fuck it. I got to go with the Blazers. You know what I'm saying? Look at what's going on here with Minnesota. I mean, they're a terrible team without Towns. They're a minus 12.5 point differential, which is the worst in the league. They've lost 5 in a row. Portland's on a 2-game losing streak. They absolutely need to get this win tonight. So I think, I see blowout. I'll put a lot of money on this one.
Ooh, confident. I like that. What about that over under, Murph? How you feeling about that? If you're expecting a lot of points, how do you feel about the over under in this game?
233. To me, it's kind of a stay away. If I had to pick, I would go over, but it could be such a blowout. They could limit Minnesota scoring wise. So the under could mess around and be a bad beat here. So I would stay away from the over under.
Yeah, you've seen that over under consensus at 234. Some places have it 233.5, but it's pretty much 234 that over under. Jarod,
yes, sir.
Is this a stay away for you in terms of this game, or are you paying taking the spread, taking the Blazers and spread?
Listen, minus 10 that's tantalizing and too good. I'm definitely taking the Blazers. Look, it's small sample size theater, but the Minnesota Timberwolves are 30th in defensive rating. You know how many teams there are in the NBA? 30. They are dead effing last in defense.
Towns ain't helping them either when he comes back.
Murph said they have negative 12.5 net rating, the worst in the NBA. And Portland's 11th ranked offense. And look, at 11th, that's still relatively okay for them. They do need a bounce back game. We talked about a little bit off air before we started. Look, Dame and CJ and Portland got to get their shit together. And they need to win bad. They lost to the Bulls last night. It's like, come on, man. Y'all got to really figure your stuff out. And I think nothing cures what ails you than playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I see a big win for Minnesota, a blowout. Stay away from that over-under. I agree with Murph. That is a bad beat because I can easily see them up big and Minnesota just got like 90 points. And it's like, I don't know.
Right.
They got like a bunch of jokers out there doing I don't know what. So stay away from that over-under.
I would absolutely stay away from the over-under. It scares me, but that minus 10 is really tantalizing. I think it's gonna be tantalizing for a lot of people. If you're looking for, a late game or something where you don't have to be stressed, because that's my thing with this betting. We don't want you to be stressed watching these games, man. We don't want that at all. So
if you bet, you're gonna be stressed. So
yeah,
live with it.
What? Yeah, okay. Well, Murph, you don't think this one where people can relax a little bit and put their
you could never relax, but put a lot of money on it and pray.
Yeah,
he's absolutely right. You heard it from Murph. There's no relaxing, even with the Blazers against the worst defense in the league, in the Minnesota Timberwolves, which is why I would be encouraged to take away from it. Yes, Murph is right. You're never going to be stress-free. That is absolutely right. But if there was maybe thing as close to stress-free as possible, playing the Minnesota Timberwolves could absolutely help with that. Absolutely, for sure. All right, before we get into our next segment, we're going to do something. Just want to remind everybody to please continue to support us here at the Props Network YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the Props Network YouTube channel if you like the show. We encourage you to keep coming back, like our fan favorite, Eric Cheng. He is a loyal supporter of the show. We appreciate him and the rest of you. Please continue to do that. You can get more NBA betting content from us on NBA Picks and Props. You can also check out the other great shows that are here on the Props Network, including my man Jamal Davis, who, even though he denies it, he is a Thomas Bryant fan on the low. He just don't want y'all to know about that. That's all. With his show, Just for Sport. Also, Joel, not Joel, messed up your name last time, Joel. Don't want to do that again. Olkowski betting all the college football games. He did a great job with the bowl games we recently saw and the national championship game. They'll be coming up soon next week. So be sure to check that out. Also, check out propsnetwork.com. You see it here on the show. It's got the best live odds comparisons for all the betting houses. And you can go to propsnetwork.com/NBA to see all the different spreads and payouts. We use it. And hopefully, using that makes things a little bit easier and keeps you less stressed because, what Murph said, ain't no relaxing time when it comes to betting. But we hope we make it a little bit easier for you. All right, our next segment, we are going to do something different. This is called Trust or Bust. And we want to look at the players that you trust and you think might be the best bet or not.
Okay.
For the following prop categories, right? Why? Did you think we were going someplace else with Trust or Bust, Brian?
Yeah, you see, Brian's mind is already messed up. Yeah. He saw like, oh, I know what that is. Yeah, how Bryan does. Don't
you know what? You can't have anything nice with Bryan. See, this is what happened. You know, you try to have a new segment, and he's got to try to.
I'm just saying. You know, things you gotta, no pun intended, clean up from time to time.
Oh, we gotta clean up your mind. That's what we need to do.
Like here on IG models, right? Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That game in that context would make a lot of sense still.
I'm all right. Anyway, yes, we were just trying to move on. So obviously, you know, we look at some player props as well too, and in any games, you can see the prop is going to be the game high scorer. So in terms of looking at the games tonight, guys, in terms of game high scorer, what players do you trust, or who would you absolutely stay away from tonight in terms of your picking a particular game in a game high scorer? Bryan, I'm going to start with you since your mind has been elsewhere, and you also talked about how the fact
cleanse me.
You think I don't know if I want to do that. You talking about the fact that you think Luka Doncic is going to have a very high scoring game. Is he one of the players you would trust, or are you out on him because you think the defense might be too good? Is there another player you trust tonight to be the game high scorer in any particular game in the NBA?
See, Luka Doncic is tough because he's playing Nikola Jokic, and you would think that just because Luka Doncic is going to have the usage rate and he doesn't have Porzingis yet, and you know all those variables, like yes, you would feel more comfortable with him scoring, but then there's Nikola Jokic on the other side. There's also the Jamal Murray factor, though I don't think he's going to quite have that. But there's also Jamal Murray factor, like he's capable of getting 40 in any given night. He's also capable of finishing with 11 on like 4 of 17 shooting, which also might happen. So I'm not really sure, but you know, Damian Lillard is probably somebody I'm looking at because we talked about that bounce back game. And in terms of scoring the most points for the night, they play Minnesota. And as Jarod said, last segment, nothing gets you going like playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. So Damian Lillard is probably who I would like to lean towards more because he doesn't have somebody on the same game who I'm worried about sort of matching him if he does go off, other than his teammate CJ McCollum. But again, D'Angelo Russell, you know, and they're going to move Damian Lillard around screens and such. And, you know, Naz Reid is not going to be over here stifling shots and things of that nature. So with all due respect. So Damian Lillard is probably who I would lean on, at least for tonight.
That's actually a really good pick to trust. Murph, who are you trusting to be the game high scorer in any game tonight? Or who are you telling people, hey, they'll stay away from that guy. You want no parts of it?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the games that we just went over, you know, for Philly and Brooklyn, I would say Kyrie. We already talked about this. There's no KD, so Kyrie's going to have to put up numbers. He's gonna, in his mind, he's going to think he has to put up numbers. And
I was going to say he don't have to.
So we know Kyrie loves to score. We know he's an artist. You know, he's a genius and all that good stuff. So you know, and I'm not disagreeing. You know, but he just has to tell us all the time.
Genius. Strong.
So you know, I could see him you know, going, you know, getting a lot of points and being the high scorer in that game pretty easily. Dame, I agree with everything Bryan said as far as that goes. And Luka, if I had to take someone from the Denver Dallas game, I would go Luka. Remember, you know, just as people already talked about, Porzingis is still not there. If Dallas is going to win, you need huge performances from Luka. In fact, you know, I don't want to spoil what I was going to say, but you know, he could be the high points, rebounds, and assist guy, you know, for that game. So those are the three I would look at.
Yeah, no, he could be. I saw one prop where it has Luka over 8.5 assists. That's a very interesting prop for the night. I might be inclined to take the over, even if depending on how Denver, you know, decides to play against him. Will they double him a lot, force the ball out of his hands? That should be interesting. All right, Jarod.
Yeah,
who are you trusting tonight or staying away from?
No, I'm with my guys. Kyrie is an easy one. I mean, he's got to score points, or he doesn't have to, as Murph said, but he will. And you know, genius in maybe basketball sense, he is in life.
That's what I'm talking about, G. You know, his art, maybe.
Yeah, he's like Serge Ibaka talking about scars. I don't dress, I do art. That's who Kyrie is. He just does art. So yeah, he gonna do his art thing tonight. Obviously, look, Luka again. He has to score. Why I like him more than Jokic to score more points is because of the way that Dallas's offense runs. Right, Murray will have the ball in his hands a lot for Denver, whereas Luka always has the ball 1,000,000 out of 1,000,000 times. So that's why I like him to score more points. And then Dame, you know that. Again, he hasn't had a nice Dame time moment in a while. It's time for him to really, remind people to that whole Steph Curry thing, although hashtag Steph better. That was from my man, Brian.
Look at you trying to piss people off. Look at you. That sounds like something.
I didn't disagree. I never did. We're not doing this now.
I'm just saying Jarod is trying to antagonize you. That's
no.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. I think it is a very good bet. I'm not going to say it's a genius bet to pick the genius that is Kyrie, but I do think that it's a very good bet there. And I do think Dame is also a very good guy. If you want to pick him as a game high scorer, I think that's pretty safe there too. I actually trust Dame more tonight, and so I'm with Brian on this, than I would necessarily trust Luka, because I think life could get a little difficult for him. But I don't also know if Denver has anybody to stop him, so who knows? That's why we said stay away from that game and all that good stuff. All right, next category, game high assist. When you're looking at games tonight, could be really interesting. I mentioned Doncic. There's a player prop out there for him, over 8.5 assists. You're obviously going to be looking at some of the point guards. You could also look at Jokic. I'm going to start off right here. He's the guy I might go with and say that I trust here in the situation. The guy I might stay away from in this is Damian Lillard, because he's not a high assist guy in that way. So I wouldn't, even though the ball be in his hands a lot, I don't think that'll happen. I'm going to start with you, Jarod. I know you like your Jokic guy. You like Jokic. Are you like me, where he's one of the guys that you're going to trust tonight, maybe to lead in that player prop?
Well, this is trust or bust. So I will say, as a bust, as we're so high on the artist in the scoring, stay away from Kyrie on the assists in this one. He ain't passing to nobody. He will pass, but anyway. So don't worry about him leading the game in assists. Jokic is so fascinating there, because so much of the Denver offense, even though Murray has the ball in his hands, the actual offense originates from Jokic at the high post at the elbow, right? So what do they do out of there? Guys cutting. Homie's averaging 12 assists a game. Love him there. That game, and yeah, I'd stay away from Dame as well. Not a high assist guy. And besides CJ, who we passing to? Covington's been meh,
right?
Melo, meh. They and Nurkic, shit. He hasn't been doing a whole lot lately. So I would look at that Doncic and Jokic game as that's where my high assist players coming from, and I'm going to lean Jokic.
Jokic leading the league, 11.9 assists per game.
That's a big man.
I don't remember, and I don't know. I'd have to go look back in this, and I haven't done this yet. I don't remember. I think in any of our lives for sure, if a big man's ever led the league in assists. I do not.
We were alive. Wilt did it, but we weren't alive then.
We weren't alive, right? So yeah, it's very impressive what he's doing and the way he's dishing out right now. He's a great bet. Brian, what do you say? Who are you rolling with? Are you rolling with Dame Time, dishing out a bunch of assists? Because I don't think that's going to happen.
Nah, he's not really that guy. And I wish he was more of that guy, but that's another story for another day. But I don't blame him, because with the team that he has, he could only give so many assists.
Fair point.
So we haven't touched Lakers, Spurs, and LeBron James is somebody I feel like is a dark horse in this category for assists for the night. Other than that, yeah, it's pretty much Jokic or Doncic to me. Maybe Ben Simmons, maybe against the Brooklyn Nets. He's sort of a dark horse candidate, but I'm not going against Nikola Jokic. Not the way he's playing. He had like 35, 15, and 13 or something like that the other night. He's putting up crazy cartoonish NBA 2K numbers, and I'm not really betting against him in any category. And you could actually, he's the only player that I would say, other than Doncic, confidently, that you could put him, like you could put money on him for each of these categories we're talking about, for points, rebounds, and assists. But for assists, I would lean towards him. Simmons, LeBron, and Doncic are like dark horses to me, though.
I'm a little surprised you didn't take anybody from the much anticipated Memphis Grizzlies, Cleveland Cavaliers matchup. I thought you were
not Sexton.
Yeah,
the land is out of the sex.
Yes,
is out.
Right.
The land is out of the sex.
Yeah,
and the land part is the assist person. So.
Yeah.
It's like, is it Tyus Jones? Like, what am I doing there?
By the way, since we brought that up, before I get to with Murph's thoughts on this, it was disappointing that I found out that apparently the Cleveland ownership doesn't want to go all in on the Sexland name. They don't market this.
Of course, I hate when billionaires act like they don't fuck. Like, come on, son. Like,
we're talking about sex and land. Like, you can't put the two together, and that's the problem.
It's a genius. It's the best nickname in NBA duo history. What's better than Sexland as a nickname? It's in their names. It's better than the Splash Brothers.
Yeah,
even though that could have a similar connotation. It is better than the Splash Brothers.
Yeah, we talked about that in our podcast, and I don't understand that, so that's bothered me. Okay, I'm glad you I'm surprised you stayed away from your boys in Cleveland. Murph,
if you think Colin Sexton's gonna go crazy, I don't blame you because I don't see Memphis really stopping him, and I may or may not have him on the lineup tonight. However, he's a game time decision. So
Run TMC, that's a pretty good one, Jamoke.
Run TMC is actually better than Sexland.
No, I disagree.
Okay.
Run TMC is up there.
And you know what? I'm going to say this real quick. I'm sorry, Murphy, but I'll say this real quick. We got to stop with having to nickname everything and nicknaming backcourts because I'm gonna call out Knicks fans. Knicks fans, stop.
You don't like it? You don't like it? You don't like it?
We're quickly like Rivers? No.
Wait. What's it called?
Emmanuel Quickley and Austin Rivers are known as Quivers.
Oh, hell no.
No. And they don't even start. Like, neither of them are starting right now. We're doing nicknames.
Exactly.
No.
That's why people hate Knicks
Austin Rivers. And I'm the one defending Knicks fans here. You're a Knicks fan, Dexter. Austin Rivers had the game-sealing shot in Rudy Gobert's $200 million mouth.
Look, man, I like how they are playing. I like how they are playing, but they are not at the level to even have nicknames. I'm not even sure Darius.
You got to be starting.
Word, you got to be starting to get a nickname. That's all I'm saying.
And I like Quickly, but come on.
I like Quickly too. This is no shade on the players. I'm just saying they don't deserve a nickname yet. That's all. All right, Murph. Who do you like? Who are you trusting, or who are you out on in terms of assists tonight?
Yeah, it's just basically what everybody else said. Luka and Jokic are the two right there. You could pick either one and just see what happens. And then I agree also with Bryan that Simmons is kind of a dark horse in that Nets Philly game. He's capable of going off. Especially passing the ball. So those are the three I got.
Good. All right, last one for us in this Trust the Bus. Game high rebounder. This is a category Bryan likes because he can elbow people, do all kinds of semi-violent things on the basketball court. Jarod, it's been interesting watching the rebound leaders thus far this season. For tonight's games, who are you trusting to get the game high in rebounds, or who are you all the way out on? Probably Kyrie Irving for this one too, right?
Stay away from Kyrie Irving, obviously. I would tell you to look at Jarrett Allen, but because it's with Joel Embiid and he's been historically sort of like owned by Embiid, stay away from that one. We talked about Jokic already, so we know he's a strong guy you trust. But in a game that not many of us will watch on League Pass, Memphis and Cleveland, Andre Drummond. All right.
Leading the league in rebounds.
There you go. Leads the league in rebounds. If there's one thing that man can do is grab some boards. Now, does it actually lead to winning or anything positive? No, but we don't care about that shit. We're trying to win a prop bet. So Andre Drummond, rebounds.
Can't go against a 14.1 rebounds per game for Drummond right now. Murph, who do you like in this category?
High rebounds. There's a bunch of guys that I would highlight. Embiid could be that guy. Your boy Jarrett Allen. I know, Bryan. I hate to bring him up, but he's been doing his thing, especially on the rebounding side. Jokic, Luka could be in that category. Cantor, who Bryan also mentioned earlier, has been putting up good rebounding stats lately. And just a guy to shout out for that terrible Minnesota team is Jarrett Culver, who actually is leading the Minnesota Timberwolves in rebounding if you take Towns out of it. He's a guy that people forgot about, high draft pick last year. He puts up these weird stats, high rebounding stats. So that would be a real sleeper to look at.
Good one there. I'm sorry. I was also kind of noticing this argument in the chat. That was absolutely hilarious. Hey, Eric, Eric, we appreciate you. You don't have to pay attention to the Herbs. You don't have to. When somebody's acting like a Herb, we appreciate your support. That guy, we're not going to mention his name. He's going to do what he's going to do. We don't have to pay attention to the Herbs. We rock with the people who rock with us. Moving on.
Yeah, move, Mitch. Get out of here, Mitch.
Bryan.
You little Mitch.
Oh, man, it's hilarious. We love it. We appreciate it. Gotta have fun. Gotta have fun with it. But hey, Eric, we want to let you know we appreciate the defense, though. We appreciate
you, Eric.
We appreciate you, bro. Bryan, who do you like in the rebounds category? Are you rocking with Andre Drummond on this one too?
Yeah, I mean that's a safe bet. You could go Jokic, you can go Doncic, you can go a lot of different ways when it comes to rebounds, but Andre Drummond is probably the safe bet for me. Because he's also facing the Memphis Grizzlies, who has another candidate for this category. Valanciunas, yeah. Valanciunas is playing well. He's rebounding the ball well at a high level. I have a tough time going against Andre Drummond though, because he just gets. You just look up and he has 18 and 18 like almost every other game. So Andre Drummond and Joel Embiid should get a mention here because, I mean, I think he's going to have a great game tonight. And usually a great Joel Embiid game comes with a lot of points and a lot of rebounds. He might have a 28 and 15 type of line. With 15 rebounds being enough? I don't know. There's only 5 games. That's entirely possible. So, yeah, Andre Drummond, Joel Embiid will probably be my second favorite. And then maybe Jokic and Doncic, and you get to the white dudes.
Embiid is a good pick. It's a good pick there. It's a definitely good pick there. I like that there. But Drummond, he's been rebounding the ball well all year long, and he's just been absolutely fantastic. We appreciate everybody once again for watching. Even Move Along Mitch, who says that people should waste their time, but he is watching this channel. Thank you. Yeah. We absolutely appreciate you for that. I mean, it's interesting. How are you going to come on the channel and criticize somebody about watching it, and you're watching?
You're no longer the Senate leader. You know
yes. Yeah. Not a good week for Mitches. Not a good week. Not a good week at all. All right, we're going to close out the show as we always do, guys. Keep it 100. You got $100 to spend however you would like in terms of betting on these Thursday night games. How would you spend it? Bryan, I'm going to start with you. You talked about a couple games you were going to stay away from. So there's some way you got to spend this $100. How are you going to spend it this Thursday night?
I'm going to go $77 and Damian Lillard leading the
77.
That game on scoring. I'm going to go $21 on a Nikola Jokic triple-double. And I'm going to go $2 on a D'Angelo Russell, CJ McCollum kerfuffle.
I like that. See, Bryan, you can't tell me anything. And for people who don't know this, you always have to make it come back to violence, man.
Always.
Listen.
Even in your bets.
There's got to be a kerfuffle bet. It has to be.
Of course.
I picked 2 weird dudes, admittedly. I mean, I probably have better odds if it was like, you know what? Actually, scratch that. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? Let's get those. Give me those $2 back.
We got the $2 back.
Montrezl Harrell.
Oh, Trez.
And Keldon Johnson, who I actually really like on the Spurs. Just, why not? Montrezl Harrell is gonna get Montrezl Harrell and anybody, really. It could be Montrezl Harrell and doesn't matter. Just Montrezl Harrell, kerfuffle, $2.
I actually think the best bet is that Mitch Reeves, who's watching the show, will say something else stupid in the comments. That's probably the best bet you can have right now.
Is it Mitch Reeves or Mitch Please?
I don't know. He's still a herb. So that's the only way I can feel about it. I mean, who wants to just come on and get trolled? I'm here for this all day. Let's go. Jarod, you got $100. I do not think you're going to bet on him to say something stupid in the next 5 seconds, although that's probably going to happen. But how are you spending your $100 tonight?
Man, let me get $25 on that Nuggets Mavericks over. Bang that hard. Yes. Let me get 25 on the Blazers -10. I love it. And then let me get $25 on Kyrie.
Oh, of course.
I think I saw him in the video. I saw him in the video yesterday. I saw you on CNN trying to break into the Capitol.
Of course.
Wait. And I mean, this is
the Trump 2020.
This is perfect. This is perfect. I mean,
so guys, can we just talk about what it all is here? Yeah. He came with the Trump 2020, and you know what got him so mad? He saw 4 minorities talking about which he hasn't seen anyplace else, and that got him real mad.
And it's not even 2020 anymore.
Wait,
it's 2020.
Here's the wild thing, right? Like,
I visit him in jail too.
I was gonna save my money because I was like, "Yo, your man Mitch is probably a closet MAGA supporter, but he ain't even closet. So there you go. That was
all the way out there.
Already won that one.
Me and Murph nodded at each other like this was.
And then Kyrie doing some art tonight. $25 on Kyrie's art.
Love it. I'm loving these bets. Murph, how you spending your $100, man?
$100. I got to, I'm going to go 50 hard on, 50 on Portland. I already talked about that game. Minnesota's terrible. Go big on that. 25. I'm going to put on Philly to go into Brooklyn and take care of business, and then 25 on that game on the Philly Brooklyn under. Those are the three bets I really like. Hopefully, I'll cash in.
All right. I'm going to go with $50 on the Nuggets Mavericks game, taking the over-under for that. I'll put $50 on that. I'm also going to go player prop I saw is interesting. Karis LeVert over 17.5 points. I mean, somebody else has to score beside Kyrie, right? So I'll put 25 on that. And then I'm going to put another 25 on Nikola Jokic to have a game high in assists. That's how I'd spend my 100. I think those are pretty good bets. And I probably won't be too stressed or as mad as that Herb that's in the chat on the show right now.
Mitch please is all right, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to the MAGA people. You got to work with them.
Yeah, we got to work with him. We here with you. We're here to work. We're here for the laugh.
See, Mitch, here's the difference. We inclusive over here. Come on, we welcome everybody. Come on, man.
You come on in. We welcome it. We're not trying to keep people out. You know what I mean? So it is. Now he's backing away from it. Right. Okay. That's right. We take all viewers. We're very inclusive here. Very inclusive. All right, that's it for this episode of NBA Picks and Props. Hopefully everybody enjoys the Thursday night's game. There are 5 games on the schedule tonight, all pretty interesting as we get deeper into this NBA season, starting with Philadelphia, Brooklyn, Cleveland at Memphis, Dallas at Denver, San Antonio at the Lakers, and Minnesota at Portland, which we expect a lot of points because playing against Minnesota, that's kind of what happens there all the time. So we'll have more content. As we said, please subscribe. Please continue to support. Follow everybody. Remember, you can check out Bryan, his work at Deadspin, Jarod on the 7 Footers podcast, and you can check out Murph. He's got Bros Pod and the Up Next Pod, Bryan and I, on A Hard to Tell podcast and here on the Props Network. Huge thank you to everybody for watching, contributing, subscribing. Shout out to Eric Cheng. Shout out to our man, Mitch. Making things real interesting, man. It was fun. Hilarious. So keep watching basketball. As we're moving along, we're getting away from sample size theater. We'll have a lot more interesting discussions about bets and everything going on in the world of the NBA next week as that comes up. So until next time, y'all, keep watching that basketball. Stay tuned and peace.